name is Armand, and today I'm going to be starting a series of videos about the 5 most underrated players per position in the NBA. We're going to start with point guards, and I just want to remind you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe right down below. And if you guys agree, disagree, want to throw out other names, let me know and we can discuss them. Today's episode is going to be the 5 most underrated point guards in the NBA, in my opinion. First player on my list of most underrated point guards is a person who I've probably argued about with friends more than any other player in the NBA, and that is Kyle Lowry. Yeah, I know you might not consider him as being underrated, but I do believe he's very underappreciated. Let's look at his resume for a second. He is an NBA champion. Game 6, he had 26 and 10 and really honed in the first half to secure Toronto's first ever championship. If you go ask Kawhi Leonard, I bet you, I know he doesn't talk a lot, but I bet you he would say that he couldn't have won that ring without Kyle Lowry's help. Kyle Lowry is a stone cold killer, and more importantly than anything else, he is a leader. Championship teams require leadership. That's one of the most important intangibles when it comes to basketball, is leadership. And Lowry does not just lead with his verbal skills, he leads by example. Last year in the playoffs, he not only did he score well and playmate for others, but he also led the league in 50-50 balls. This is when a rebound comes off the rim and a guy and another guy are fighting for the rebound. He would get more of those than any player in the league. He takes more charges than anybody in the NBA. Kyle Lowry is about my size. Probably a lot of you guys out there are about the same size as him. Let me ask you guys, do you guys think that you have the balls to stand in front of a Ben Simmons, a Giannis, a LeBron James, and take a charge from one of those guys? Many of us might lie and say yes. I personally will tell you for a fact that hell no am I ever gonna do that. Kyle Lowry would do that a million times over, and he's 33, 34 doing that. How are you that old? His body must hurt, right? But that's what kind of competitor and winner he is. And if I was a team and I wanted to build around a point guard and I didn't have the luxury of maybe getting a Steph Curry, you know, a Damian Lillard, Kyle Lowry, I would die for a Kyle Lowry, right? So that's number 1. The second point guard on my list of most underrated, this one is gonna shock a couple of you, Chris Dunn. I know, I'm being a homer picking Chris Dunn. He only averages 7 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds a game. So why is Chris Dunn on this list? Simple. He's one of the best defensive players in the entire league. I watched every single Bulls game this year, and the numbers back it up. Chris Dunn is leading the league in steal percentage, right? He's second to only Giannis Antetokounmpo in defensive box plus minus, and he's number 1 in the NBA in deflections per 36 minutes. These are numbers that might look like arbitrary numbers to some, but Dunn's defense really did play an important role for the Bulls this year. And if guys like Andre Roberson are any indication, he's going to have a role in the NBA. His shooting this year was yikes. 25% from 3. 2 years ago, he shot 35% from 3, so he has shown potential to make shots at an acceptable rate. Dunn, if he doesn't improve his shooting, will always be an off the bench kind of defensive stopper, but that's still a guy who you need. And when you have a guy like that, think Marcus Smart, think if you want to get a little bit blasphemous, think maybe a guard type of like a Bruce Bowen, where you have one job, right, on a team, but Chris Dunn can do that. And if the Bulls don't want to pay him this offseason, somebody will pay Chris Dunn. I promise you that. Somebody will pay Chris Dunn. If it's only for his defense, It doesn't matter. Somebody's going to pay that guy. Number 3 on my list of most underrated point guards. Let's go to the team with the best record in the NBA, and George Hill. George Hill has been around the block in the NBA. He's been on his fair share of teams. It's no coincidence that the Indiana Pacers had so much success in the mid-2010s because they had George Hill anchoring their team. And it's no coincidence that the Bucks bench is one of the best bench units in the NBA. No coincidence because George Hill is manning that unit. When you want to talk about professional point guard, professional gets the job done, George Hill is one of the first names that comes to my mind. He leads the NBA in three-point percentage, shooting 48%. He's a guy that if I was a coach, I would trust him in the final 6 minutes of a crucial game. He's a good defender. He has good size, good solid athleticism, and he's been in big moments before. He's gone up against LeBron in Eastern Conference Finals. He's done, he was in the Eastern Conference Finals last season against Kawhi. He knows how to play and he knows his role and he doesn't try to do too much. George Hill is that perfect blend of when you need a solid player, that's the guy I look at, is George Hill. Point guard number 4 on my list of most underrated. He's had kind of a up and down career, but he really had a career year this year, and his name is Dennis Schroder. Dennis does not get the love he deserves. He is arguably Oklahoma City's #1 offensive option this year. I mean, yes, Chris Paul is their closer. They do have Gallinari and they do have Shea, but their biggest success came in those 3-point guard lineups that included Chris Paul, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Dennis Schroder. Schroder averaged 19 points a game off the bench, and he really spearheaded their bench unit and helped solidify the Thunder as what stands right now the #5 seed in the Western Conference. I don't know about you guys, but going into the year, I thought the Thunder were going to flop miserably. I didn't see any hope. I didn't believe in the Chris Paul addition. I liked Shea. I think we all liked Shea. Liked Steven Adams. I didn't know if Gallinari could stay healthy. And Dennis Schroder was kind of an afterthought. I didn't really even take him into consideration when thinking about the Thunder's success this year, or lack thereof. But he really has evolved and accepted his role as being a guy that can come in and be a spark plug off the bench. Early on in his career, there were reports of Schroder having a huge ego, thinking he's always the best player on the floor, and he carried himself like it, and it kind of got him run out of Atlanta. But I'm happy for him, and in Oklahoma City, he's proven that maybe another team should really take into serious consideration giving him another chance to start. His pick and rolls with Steven Adams this year were very effective in helping generate offense for the Thunder, and like I said, not only was he a spark plug off the bench, he might end up winning the 6th Man of the Year award. What a turnaround for Dennis Schroder. Now finally, the last guy on my list, this is a guy who has 2 older brothers in the league already. He's up and coming, and I do believe he will be a long-term starter in the NBA, and that's Aaron Holiday of the Indiana Pacers. Holiday started 26 games for the Pacers this year. He averaged only in those starts 12 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, so pretty pedestrian numbers. But the numbers that stand out to me with Holiday are the fact that he shot 40% from 3 and 90% from the free throw line. What that indicates to me is that this guy can do the basic fundamental things that an NBA starting point guard needs to do. And he does them at a very high level. Not only that, he has 2 older brothers to kind of show him the ropes and be like, yo, this is what's up. This is how teams are going to play you. This is how the NBA life is going to treat you. And this is how you stay in the league and make a name for yourself. And Drew and Justin can really show Aaron the ropes on how to be a professional athlete. Not only that, his older brother Justin is on his team right now to help guide him along his journey. Now, in Indiana, he's stuck right now behind couple very quality guards in Malcolm Brogdon and Victor Oladipo. So obviously he's not getting the opportunity that he probably deserves to get, but with time, it will come. This kid can play. And what I said about George Hill being a professional, at age 23, Aaron Holiday, when he does get to play, has shown that he has the same professional point guardsmanship that will let him stay in the NBA for a very long time. Alright, again, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 2 of Brainstorming Basketball. This is going to be a 5-part series about the most underrated players per position. And if you guys like this, please let me know in the comment section below if there's anybody I forgot that you believe deserves to make this list or deserves to make a list that I make going forward. Let me know. That's what this channel is all about, is about creating conversation between basketball fans. Alright, thank you guys so much. Armon out.